Hello, everybody. Let's turn the music up a little bit. Just a little bit in the background while we get ourselves comfortable on this Sunday evening on Late Night with Cranky and Friends. We are back. It's been a busy day for me. I'm just a little tired. I actually grabbed a few Zeds in my chair earlier this evening. I was just like, holy shit, it just hit me like a wave. But anyway, we are here. I am joined by the G-Spot himself, G Eidolon. How are you, dude? How you doing?
No, hanging in there. Just working right now.
Yeah, I know. I'll explain that in a minute, folks. And also, on the far side of the trio is the Red Mage himself. How are you doing, Red?
Doing very well. Yourself?
I'm doing okay. Now, I just want to be clear here, folks. Like G has jumped in to fill in a co-host that couldn't make it tonight, so he's kind of working, and he's trying to, be a bit of a co-host. So if he happens to have a phone stuck to his head, it's because he's having to do some work. So he'll be muted during those times. So not to worry. And that's sort of his calling. I don't know why he wears two pairs of glasses, but we don't question the G-Spot. The G-Spot is just not one of those things you question in this world. He does what he does, and we go with the role. But yeah, by the way, if anybody missed earlier today, we launched our second show called The Interviews, and we were lucky enough to have a good friend of mine, Dizzy Disaster, and his wife Mew on for the debut show. If you want to catch it, there is the link in chat to the YouTube upload of it. It's just an hour of conversation with Dizzy and his wife about streaming, about being a streamer, just a good all-round, very comfortable conversation that we had. Now, this is not really a good lead-in or a good follow-up, but I couldn't resist this when I saw it. And I know this is probably older than you, G. But those of us that grew up in the early days of computers and computer gaming and other disastrous stuff, we had to suffer through some pretty insane commercials. This is a 1990s League of Legends commercial. So have at it and watch what I had to put up with.
What are you, a nerd? Stop studying and play League of Legends. The new hit internet sensation from Ludo Games, utilizing the power of the World Wide Web. Join forces with 4 toxic strangers to kill the enemy's big building thing. In this 10-player battle arena, anything goes, unless it's outside the current meta. And no, Mom and Dad, there is no pausing in this game. Vanquish your foes and become a legend. Order now to receive your free 1,000 floppy disk installation package.
Fucking floppy disk.
May take days. While the game is
3,000 floppy disks
per month.
Oh my god.
I should actually drag up one of these days if I can find it, one of the early commercials for WoW, because they were just as bad. What do you think? I know you probably would have been pretty young at the time, G. But would that have been something that would have gotten you in there playing League of Legends at that age?
No. It was very amusing, very funny. But no, commercials typically don't get to me though. I find them very funny half the time. Like that. That was really funny. They did a good job to make me laugh.
What do you think, Rev? Is that sort of indicative of those times?
Oh yeah, that's an instant recall of that movie, The Wizard.
Oh God!
The only thing that commercial's missing is a power glove.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But yeah, no. Like I said, I saw that and I couldn't resist. Now, keeping with the videos, I got another really cool one for folks to see, and what it is let me just cue it up here so it's ready and pause. Okay, this is from a DeviantArt guy called Jarno, and we'll kick on the video thing there. It is a toaster turned into a Nintendo. It's called the Netoaster 2.0 Retro Model. Have a look, guys, and tell me what you think of this. Is this something that you would like to have sitting beside your TV to play your Nintendo games with? Like,
I love when they do stuff like this.
like it's all there.
It's impressively done.
But wait until you see the cartridge. Not that one. There is another specific cartridge that he's got as well.
Okay, that's cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, that is definitely cool. Adjustable lights.
Reset.
He's done a hell of a job.
That's very nicely done.
Oh, even you put light in the back of the controller too.
So yeah, that is the Nintendo Toaster 2.0. Oops, stop, thank you. And click that off. Anyway, the orange and silver NES toaster, it no longer makes toast, but it's a clever NES cartridge sleeve, reminds us of its original function. The perfect place for the console, made even better. Like, I love the creativity of people that can take something as generic as a toaster, wrap their heads around it, and make something like this. Like, that is just amazing.
Oh, and this is hacking the right way. That's exactly what this is. Like, I have no words. I'm in awe.
Now, gee, I know you live in San Fran, right? Or is it San Fran or LA?
I live near LA, closer to LA.
Because I know this would be perfect on your kitchen counter, right?
Oh, totally.
You know, like, just show it off to the girls when you're doing your Skype calls and
Oh, you know. You know. I'm actually probably gonna have another one tonight.
Oh, we are. Ron lives. Hey, you can meet up with Ron. He lives in San Fran.
TwitchCon,
man.
September.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna be there.
Are you really?
That's what Dizzy said.
Oh, okay. What do you think of the idea of TwitchCon, though?
It's a genius idea. It's an absolutely genius idea. It's something that they've needed to do for, I think, a while now, and it's good that they're doing it for themselves. Do I think it's going to do anything for smaller streamers, or if it's going to really matter much for smaller streamers? Not so much. Granted, I don't know what they have planned, so I don't want to speak, negatively against it or positively against it. I really don't know. I really just think that knowing how Twitch works, and just like any business, this is just how businesses work, and it's understandable that they're going to play off of the
big names.
Big names, big
Yeah.
streamers, and not really care about the smaller streamers. And they're gonna have probably, expensive tickets, which again, that's fine, but it's not really gonna do much for people. So I'd like to see that. I hope I hope I'm wrong.
Okay, but here's the thing, Gene. This is what I have sort of like a hard time trying to wrap my head around. Like when it comes to things like cons or Comic Cons or sci-fi cons or the big things like PAX, you've got a variety of shit around. Okay, like you've got massive amounts of vendors, you've got massive amounts of panels. What has Twitch got to offer that will make it anything better than being an exhibitor or a panel holder at one of the bigger cons?
I really think it's gonna be mostly like a meet and greet of the bigger Twitch names, like being able to watch a big streamer that a lot of people are sub to, that they want to see Towley live. They want to see, these people that are well known. It's me, JP, Co-Carnage, those types of people live, because it's just so cool to see those people, because they're kind of like celebrities. And then they're gonna have some like cool things, probably like hoodies and jackets and Twitch kind of apparel that you can get. And they're probably gonna throw something like, we'll probably start seeing badges on Twitch pages where it's like, oh well, you hit the 10,000 follow badge. Oh, and you've also went to TwitchCon. You're the very first TwitchCon badge, so you can like plaster it on your Twitch page to kind of say that you did that and kind of have bragging rights. That's kind of what I see from it. I also see a lot of game developers going there to show off games and just kind of like they do in PAX, and possibly allow, and this is where I see it possibly being bigger, allow people who are smaller streamers to get early kind of copies of bigger games to be able to play them on their stream. But again, it's really I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with it.
Yeah. So am I. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not being a negative Nancy here, or a negative Freddie. Not to be sexist. I'm not sure I see the value for the viewing consumer, the small Twitch streamers, the mid-level Twitch streamers. This sort of strikes me more as a old boys club, slap in the back, cigar smoking clubhouse. And that kind of bothers me. The other thing that I'm wondering too is if this becomes a yearly event, which obviously they want it to be, is this where we will hear the big Twitch announcements, like to do with Twitch itself? Will we hear the keynotes of the things that are being planned for Twitch, or that are being implemented? Like what the roadmap is, because we really don't know what Twitch's roadmap is these days.
I think that might be a good possibility. Like a lot of these conventions, like BlizzCon, or I guess to a lesser extent E3, because that's more about the industry than it is about the customer. They typically have these kind of big keynotes or something big to go along with it. But one of the other things that I was thinking of on this after my initial impression a night or two ago was, this is an awesome networking opportunity for the mid to low level streamers. Like, everyone knows big names, and yeah, they're not going to have a problem getting followers and subscribers or what have you. But someone like myself, who will have maybe 1 to 5 viewers on average at most, it'd be a good way to get your name out there, meet some faces, and kind of get some support from other communities as well. I think for people like Dizzy, it's a great opportunity to help grow the community and get that recognition by being there and having himself being seen, as well as taking part in things. So there's potential of it being a very positive thing for people in the mid to low level, but it's one of these things I like G said, I'm going to kind of hold off really getting a solid opinion on it until then.
Okay. It's the other thing that I lost my train of thought. It just
Love when that happens.
Yeah, I love that. So you know what? We'll leave this where it is, because obviously we're coming up when it's we'll hear more information about it. We'll start getting some more PR stuff from Twitch over the whole thing, because right now they have no content set up for it. They have the date, they have the location, they have the place, they have but they have no idea what they're doing within that context. None at all. And nicely enough, they admit it, and they've sort of gone out to the Twitch community and said, like, what do you want to see? So yeah, I'm like you guys. I'll probably hold off on making any real serious judgments on yay or nay on this, or what our thoughts are. Switching gears here a little bit. Battlefield Hardline is still in beta. Okay. But they published a recent infographic and a developer diary, and we'll just take a quick glance through the infographic that gives some facts about what's happened during the beta period. There have been 7 million players in the beta release. There's been 2.8 billion loot stolen in heist or bank jobs. There's been 3.8 million vaults busted. There's been an equivalent to a robbery for 10,000 days. There's been 38 million cars hotwired and 21 million hotwire takedowns, because you got to have that side of the story, right? But what happened to the other 17 million? Did they get away? Are they in the chop shop somewhere?
Probably.
There's been $527 billion total in-game cash earned, I guess, with 7 players grabbing the 150 rank. So yeah, they're pretty proud of it. It's not my type of game, but they also, like I said, they released a bit of a short developer diary, which we'll just throw up here. Thanks, Epitaph, for following, dude. Appreciate it.
I think with the beta, we went out there expecting surprises, and that's part of the beta experience, is trying to understand what the reaction is going to be from fans, what kind of stuff players can find in the game, and ultimately help us to fix, to make the game better come March 17th.
Cops haven't done very well, only 50%.
It's been great to see validation of a lot of the changes we've made.
I think the game's really, really tight right now. One of my favorite moments was we were playing Heist on Bank Job, and we were breaching out the back of the bank, and the cops had just set up this amazing ambush, and we were just like, whoa, but it was so awesome to see that kind of teamwork. Was very unique.
Having the first beta was kind of our big, here's Hardline, the announce behind the game, and us going out to say, hey, we're making this Battlefield Cops and Criminals game. But it also gave us an opportunity to look at the game we were making and to evaluate what kind of changes we wanted to make.
Based on player feedback, we're addressing some of the weapons that were felt to be overpowered. A few of the assault rifles are going to actually get more recoil, and a few of the starting weapons are going to be more user-friendly for someone who's first jumping into the game.
For me, one of the most exciting things about making a multiplayer game is iteration. The idea that you're going to make something, and then you're going to play it, and you're going to get feedback.
We're putting this game out to so many players worldwide, and to have the opportunity to get their feedback on how to improve the game and how to make this so much better, it gives us the ability to, 6 weeks before launch, actually take a look at what we want to change, make those last-minute change and polish items.
Some of the things that I like about the game are the attention to detail, the gear, the weapons. You look at all the different weapon models, and you can tell they've done their homework, they added new optics to the game. That is really cool.
I find myself not wanting to play Conquest as much as I do the other game modes like Heist and Hotwire, because you get more sense of satisfaction out of the game modes.
Pro players
most
in there.
About Hotwire's the
yes.
First of all, getting to be able to see the cars, having the ability to drive those across the
Is
maps
that a new
at high
classification
speeds,
now? Pro
to
player?
T-bone people, to get into crazy car accidents, to
I
create
wonder if
all
they
kinds
mean, like,
of
now.
shenanigans.
If they're like pro competitive-ish level for like Battlefield.
And he got hit by a chopper.
All right.
Did we just become best friends, Evan? Yup.
This isn't something you usually see in Battlefield 4, for example. You see a Jeep, it may have 2 or 3 guys in it. But in Hotwire, you'll commonly see a full sedan packed with 4 dudes. And they're all doing something useful, whether it's driving to the next objective, one guy's repairing the car, and others returning fire at the car chasing them. It's a really interesting and different team dynamic.
Got a suspect.
Battlelog is a great first stop for your feedback. Make sure if you tell us that you love something or you hate something, tell us why. That's the most important bit of your feedback.
I had a great time playing the Battlefield beta as well as during the preview events. And I think this game is going to shape up to be awesome on launch day.
Thumbs up. Well done, Visceral. You got me off guard on this one, but in a good way.
So, did that get you off guard? Did that excite you for Battlefield Hardline?
Not already more than I already kind of was in playing the beta on the 360. Like it's like I'm with the one guy saying like I kind of pulled out of playing Conquest because with Battlefield 3, Conquest was the only mode I played, and the Hotwire map type is actually a lot more fun because you're running in. You have to be the first to pick up these cars and run around with them and control them as long as possible. So I can see what they're trying to do with it, and I will agree that some of at least the starting weapons, I wouldn't say are new player friendly. Like I don't like that term, but some of the recoil and the way they handle is not very intuitive to a first time player. Like it'll be like the first bullet's on dead on accurate, and then it starts flying all over the place. So it's solid. It was a solid multiplayer beta, from what I can see.
Yeah. What do you think, G? Are you? Is this even your type of game?
It used to be. I think the game itself is a very solid game in terms of battlefields. I don't think it's really bringing much change to Battlefield as a whole. I mean, the guy said that, oh, well, you have 4 people in a Jeep, one's shooting, one's driving, one's repairing. I'm like, and while he was saying that, I'm like, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 2, Battlefield 2142. I mean, like, the only difference really that I see in this is different maps, probably different graphics because I haven't really played it, so I can't really tell. And the fact that they basically, I totally lost my train of thought as well.
See, what gets me is like Battlefield has always been an army game. It's been
that's exactly where I was going.
Okay.
Thank you. You actually reminded me.
Good. Go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick. So the only difference I really see is cops versus robbers, and it's like really the same thing. Like I don't see a huge difference. Yeah, the cars are a little different, but I don't know. I don't find it to be super unique or anything like that. It's something that if I was still into those games, I'd probably get it just because it seems pretty cool. And they're smart because they're probably going to pull the whole Counter-Strike's Go skins, where you can buy skins or to get a drop skin and buy a key to buy the crate unlock, and then you get more skins for your guns and stuff. There's rare skins and all that, exactly what CSGO does. So that's one way for them to make money. But I don't see anything really that crazy with it.
See, here's the problem I have with it. And it's not so much the game itself. I'm sure the game's quite good and it's going to be a lot of fun to play. But I think it's a misuse of the brand. Battlefield has always been, and should always be, a war game. Whether it be in the past, or in the present, or in the future. It is a army, soldier, airplane, the jet plane fighters, and that's what Battlefield is. This switch to a cops and robbers, I'm sorry. That's a new IP. That's a new title. That should not be connected to Battlefield. It's, to me, that's misusing a brand.
Yeah, I agree to an extent. Like, I think that this is like, if you look at the Battlefield series as like a linear progression, this is kind of like a step sideways for them.
Yeah.
It's not a step forward, and it brings it to more of, I guess you call it more of a civilian level. Because, like, you don't have tanks. There's an oil tanker truck that you can drive in there, but it's not, like, high military jingoistic shooter. This is, you know, getting more in on the city streets. And to be honest with you, like, I think the only complaint I'd have is the maps could be larger. Because they do
SimCity argument.
Well, no, it is to a point where some of the maps do feel a little constrained compared to, like, say, Battlefield 3, for instance. But the one thing they did like in their little downtown city map, it is insanely vertical, though. Like, you've got a 100-story tall building, you can go up to the top, grab your sniper rifle, zip line between buildings, and parachute down. So they are kind of stretching the boundaries a little bit that way, and in kind of that that kind of genre for them. But it's not an advance. It's just a lateral step for them.
Well, Wolfang points out that, you know, I believe that Cops and Robbers is a good addition to the Battlefield game. It gives the players a break from the war part of the game. It can almost be a civilized level. But the problem is, there's no soldiers there. You've got cops. You know, I know it's nitpicking, and don't really give a fuck, because that's what I do. I nitpick shit. And in my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, folks, this should have been a different title. I think it does a disservice to... Because here's the thing. If for whatever reason Hardline crash and burns, which it probably won't, it could hurt the Battlefield brand. Right? Whereas if it was off, like, you know, a separate title, it can't hurt their main brand, because their main brand is Battlefield. And regardless of how bad Battlefield 4 was on launch, you know, it did enough to cut its own throat. It doesn't have that added pressure of having to maintain a second brand, sort of a sub-brand, if you will.
Yeah, and I think games like Battlefield 4, and we're seeing a lot of this now lately, is those early day or first couple day problems are starting to sound like they just rushed it too quickly. They didn't kind of wait and pull off and say, okay, things are broken, let's hold off, fix shit, and then release it. So that's what it sounds like to me, at least, but I could be wrong.
Okay, one game that should have been fixed, if released at all, has been the highly touted Order 1886. Now, this got all fucking kinds of big press about how great this game was going to be. It was the most gorgeous game you could ever play. It was just going to be a unique atmosphere, and you were going to love it. Turns out that people don't love it. People are actually pretty fucking pissed with it. Everything from the game length to the mechanics of the game to, well, you name it. There are complaints left, right, and center. But there was an interesting article on our Ars Technica, and I will throw the link in chat so you guys can check it out for yourself, where they basically went through the game and gave their report. But it was the headline that got my attention. And it was Op-Ed, The Order 1886, and Single Bad Player Games in a Twitch World. Now, the important aspect is the last paragraph for me, where he says, as such, the Twitch and YouTube era of game development may actually be the best yet. The one that discourages cursory and underdeveloped examples of interactivity. It also enables a new totem for game criticism, the better watched than played designation. And then they go on to that. I agree with them. I think that with the advent of Twitch, and even for as much as I cringe at the thought of the YouTube playthroughs, we are in a new generation of game evaluation, of game reviewing, of being able to see what we're going to be paying our money for. Do you think this is a good thing, or do you think this is something that we should be treating very carefully so that we don't go too far overboard, and we may lose a gem that is maybe got released too early, aka early access, and basically gets destroyed through Twitch playing or YouTube playthroughs? What do you guys think? G?
I mean, honestly, I think that this is something. It's basically a move from reviews from like Metacritic and stuff like that to reviews from YouTube and Twitch. That's becoming kind of, I would say, a strong emphasis for people. I think it can be a great thing. I think it can be a horrible thing. I think that it's a great thing in the sense that I can go into a game that I'm interested in getting, and I can hear people and watch the game and see if I enjoy that game, see if I enjoy the style, see what that has to offer, and listen to the people. However, what I'm afraid of is things that you've seen recently, which is people getting paid to play this and being sponsored by this, and then not saying anything that they are sponsored, that they are, maybe getting kickbacks from the company, and then all of a sudden, this is the best game ever, everyone should buy it. Well, if you're someone who really trusts a streamer or a YouTuber, and you go, I listen to this guy, I think this person is a great person and their reviews are amazing, and they tell me to get this game, and I just go and get it because I trust this person, that can be bad for the industry. However, it falls on you for actually doing that research. If that's the only research you're going to do and you're going to just trust this person, it's kind of your fault too.
Yeah.
So I think it can be a good thing. I think it's a good thing in terms of being able to see the gameplay. It can be a bad thing though.
Red, what about you?
I kind of agree. It's really a mixed bag. Because like YouTube playthroughs, if you just want to watch it being played and gone through, that's one thing, and it give you a good idea of how the game plays and feels. With Twitch, like with the interactivity with the streamer, you can get a little more insight into the game if they know more. Like if they have any shred of integrity, if they're getting sponsored to play the game or what have you, they would be saying, hey, I was given a copy to play through, and I'll give you my straight up opinion on it. Like I'd be all for that, but like the kind of the same thing you see with a lot of these review sites and getting paid off to give a positive review, like it's a lack of integrity. Like I want to watch a streamer who's going to be straightforward and honest about something. Like Dizzy's really good for that. He'll say if he's enjoying it and if he's having a good time with it, you can tell. And he's always say, like, I like this game, I love it, and that's why I'm streaming it. But like with the advent of
here's the problem I have, and it's twofold. Number one, I agree. Twitch is a great resource for gamers. It's a great way to see games being played. It's a great way to judge the community around a game. The fact that there are some streamers getting paid to stream games bothers the fuck out of me. Okay? Not that they're getting paid, but that they're not disclosing it right up front. Now, I know in the blogging industry, and I've been doing this for a long time, there was a period back about 4 years ago where we went through this whole thing of paid posts, sponsored posts, to the point that the FCC threatened to step in. All right. So suddenly you got this all self-conscious. Oh well, we'll police ourselves. Which is a load of fucking bullshit. But when you come to Twitch, you've got and you've got to admit, the people at the top carry a lot of fucking weight.
Yeah.
A lot of weight.
And that.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say that Ramaro, I'm probably butchering that, says you can't fake having fun while playing a game. I agree to some extent. Believe me, if I got $1 million from a company, obviously it's not that much, but I'm exaggerating, obviously. But if I got $1 million, believe me, I will have so much fun playing that game.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's I am Brett.
You can't tell me that one of the top level streamers, and I won't use a name because that's just not fair. I wouldn't waffle that way. But let's say one of those top streamers, they get paid 10 grand to play a game. That's a pittance for the game developer. That's a nice little bonus donation for the streamer. But there's no disclosure. Right? So he can play the game, he's got 10 grand in his pocket, and he can chuckle and laugh and have a great time doing it, and the stream and the viewers are going, wow, like he likes this game, he's having fun playing it. I'm gonna go get that game. There's no disclosure. That's my key point. If you're gonna be paid to stream a game, cool, I got no problem with that. We all need to earn a living. Right? But here's two things. One, you have to have a policy on your Twitch page about pay to play. Okay? You have to. There should be a part of your Twitch page for a policy disclosure on paid streaming. Okay? Number two, there should be at some point during your stream something that says this is a sponsored game.
I would agree.
That is, to me, that would redeem the whole process. Okay? It would make it and people would be able to go in and say, okay, he's getting paid to do this, so let's look at this a different way now. It also lets the streamer be more, to not have to fake it. He says, I'm getting paid to do this. I'm showing you this game because the game developers want me to do it for you. Cool. The other thing that needs to be done is Twitch needs to step up right now, and declare its policy on this. It should be Twitch's policy that if you are a streamer and you are getting paid to stream a game by a game developer or a marketing company, you have to declare it. It's not for the benefit of the streamer, it's not for the benefit of Twitch, it's for the benefit of the fucking viewers. The people are going to spend money on that game. And right now they're being lied to. And that bothers me. It bothers me a lot. Am I off on that, Red?
I agree with you. And it was actually, that reminds me that especially the full disclosure of being a sponsored game reminded me of part of Robin Williams, one of his last stand-ups, is that wouldn't it be great if politicians had the logos plastered of their sponsors like NASCAR drivers do.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's a good idea, because if you're getting sponsored by a game company, a product, a service, anything, you should have that disclosed, because people know that if there is a case, let's say it's a developer that is sponsoring you, 10 grand to play their newest game, like they could see if you're like, oh, this game's amazing, it's awesome, you guys have to go out and buy it, then you can see that you can see the clear bias that way.
Yep.
And if there's no disclosure on that, it's hard to tell. It's disingenuous, it's deceitful, and you could be walking people right into, a $60 pile of steaming shit. And they'll all go like lemmings because the guy had a great time with it.
Here's another point too, and I think this is extremely short-sighted of streamers that do this. The damage it could do to their own brand. Okay? You've got a streamer. You got a big name streamer, and he's playing this game, and he's getting paid to play it, and he's touting this game up, and he's saying how great this game is, and blah 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 blah. So he's got an audience right now, let's say 2,000 people. Out of that, 10% go and buy the game. And out of that, 5% feel like they've got ripped off. He's damaged his brand by 5%.
Yep.
Is it irreparable damage? Probably not the first time. Maybe not even the second time. But if this becomes a consistent thing that happens when you get paid to stream a game, and you get consistently bad games that you are touting as being the next great big thing, you're going to fuck your brand. You're going to lose your viewers. Now, by having the sponsor tag on your stream when you're doing that, and by having that policy on your page, you're protecting yourself. Because you can say, look, this is what this is, folks. So this is a really huge double-edged sword that I don't think I think very, very few Twitch streamers have thought about. Sure, it's great to get that nice lump sum check from the game company. It's a nice bonus to get. But what is the real cost to you as a streamer, but also to your viewers, the ones that are actually paying your way? Okay?
And just as my own little thing, and because we have this on tape recorded, I know it's going to go up somewhere on the internet. Like me being even a tiny streamer like I am, if there's a time and place where something like that comes up, where I have a sponsorship, you guys will know.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people in our community and with the Follow Zone will be the same way. So everyone, so you guys are all witnesses. If that ever happens in my life, if I ever get that kind of lucky, hold me to it.
Yeah, and I think streamers should be held to that. Look, I know it sounds stupid, but in a way, streamers are in a position of responsibility. Okay, they're in a position of responsibility to their viewers, not to the game devs, not to Twitch. They're in it for their viewers. And I think sometimes the bigger streamers lose sight of that. They see the 2,000 subs, the 1,000 subs, the 500 subs. They see, the donation trains that are making them $2 or $3 grand a night, and they lose fact that it's the people in chat, man. They're the ones that are paying our way. And if you treat them with a kind of disrespect of playing a game, getting paid for it, and not letting them know, and end up having them buy a pile of steaming pile of crap, that's not right. That's not right at all. I know you missed all that, really great conversation, because I'm sure you would have had a few valid points. But we'll carry on to what is being billed as a post-modern RPG with JRPG influences. Now we have a trailer for it, which we'll play this, and let's see if you guys are fucking as confused as I am by this. Yes, Kryder, this is your kind of game.
I shook my head. You are the best friend that I ever had.
It's okay, G.
It's
alright.
I got a crow, and the crow's name is Molly. She has no wings, she was never of my bird. She is the worst friend that I ever had.
1, 2, 3. This is postmodern now, folks. Postmodern.
Did he just throw a cat?
Thank you, Shadowface. You're the man. I just love watching G's face. It just.
I'm not sure I understand what's going on.
The music's a little jarring, though.
I hated the music.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna even like try to put that nicely. That music was the worst music I've ever heard in my life.
Okay, now before we get into discussion, let's preface this with, an explanation from the game dev of what this game is. From their website, which has me updated with the game's new moniker, Yik is a Japanese-styled RPG development by Americans. The game contains action and platforming elements as well as meticulously designed story-based dungeons. In addition to these story-based dungeons, Yik will feature randomly generated dungeons called the Mind Dungeon, which contain puzzles, story elements, and opportunities for characters to level up beyond the standard leveling experience that is expected from a battle. You know what? You can keep your postmodern shit.
The only thing that caught me at my eye a bit when I saw this article was one of the taglines at the top is a postmodern RPG is a psychedelic indie Earthbound. And that last word, Earthbound, got me. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to play a game where you got this freaky looking hipster running around in a plaid shirt and beard, but I'll at least keep my eye on it. It looks weird and interesting.
Ramara, I have no fucking idea what it's about. I really don't. The art style doesn't even appeal to me. The idea that it's where the fuck do you come up with the term postmodern for?
Postmodern is like after the Andy Warhol era, or that kind of era. That's postmodern. So I don't know what are they thinking it's supposed to be after now, which is a lot of people confuse the postmodern term with.
Gee,
I don't know.
You look totally and utterly befuddled by this.
I mean, to me, it has elements that I like about RPGs. It has definitely things that I do enjoy about RPGs. I've never been a big fan of any kind of taking fantasy and throwing it into modern day type thing, which is what this is, I think, trying to do. I mean, it's a game that I would be possibly interested in. That song though was so bad. I can't get over that song. But besides that, I mean, it's definitely a game that I would be interested in terms of the style. I do like that type of style. The art, not so big on. I like the JRPG elements. I like the RPG elements in general. So it seems like it's trying to combine some sort of like South Park stick of truth with JRPG Final Fantasy, because I saw a lot of that there. And like that elevator scene was like total Final Fantasy-esque to me, like just that elevator with the thing. And then just the random things that I would expect from Japanese RPGs, where like the guy just flips backward and goes into water, and he's the shopkeeper, I guess. Yeah.
On that note of utter confusion, folks, we're going to take a short 5-minute break. Got to refill the drinks and take care of a few other things. If you like the show and you haven't followed yet, and you like the conversation, you like the humor, you like the anger when it comes out, hit the old follow button. Let us know we're doing something right. But until then, we're going to turn up the music a little bit, and we'll take a 5-minute break. We will see you in 5, folks.
The whole world gone crazy! Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules? The whole world gone crazy! Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules? The whole world gone crazy! Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
And we're back. We'll just turn the music down just a little bit. Just a little bit of a show note. I see a lot of you are enjoying the intermission videos. I actually take a lot of time during the day to try and find stuff for that little 5 minutes where you're here. Because I figure you're giving us an hour of our time, and we're asking to be able to take 5 minutes out of that, and the least I can do is try and find you something that you will either make you laugh, put a smile on your face, or just sort of make you go, what the hell? So yeah, there you go. One of the unfortunate, and I maybe unfortunate isn't the right word, but the early access has seen a glut of these open world survival, zombie type games. Like it doesn't seem like a week can go by where another one isn't showing up on early access somewhere, or some big name company is saying, hey, we're like H1Z1, we've got the the best out there. There's another one that came out today or yesterday, and it's called Decaying Earth. Now, this is an early access trailer, so be warned. But I want to get your guys' opinions on this offering and the whole genre that we're seeing right now.
It started as stories in the newspapers, then it spread to TV. It always seemed to be so far away enough that it would never reach us. We were wrong. Before we could blink, it was on the streets, outside our homes, everywhere. People relied on the government to protect us, but they soon failed. The infection hit us hard and fast. The government tried to battle back with their genetically altered super soldiers. But it doomed us all. The mutants were more ferocious than the undead even. All the life blown away in the blink of an eye, left with a distant memory which will soon be no more. The new world changes people. Survival changes people to do things they never do. Bad things. Terrible things. We all have a story to tell. What will yours be? Will you help others survive? Or prioritize yourself? What will you do in Decaying Earth?
Okay, that's good enough. Shut the fuck up. So what do you guys think of Decaying Earth?
I feel like I've seen this before, and I don't I don't mean because Daisy and H1Z1 are out there and all these other clones. I mean texture-wise, especially when he goes up to that fridge in the little kitchenette area. It looks like it's been ripped off something else already. And I'm just gonna say this now because we're not gotten to it yet. I'm tired of this genre already. Done. just thoroughly, completely stick a fork in me. I'm gone. I'm done. No.
Gee.
I think that it's very much like the moment I saw the grass on the field, it hit me. This is RuneScape's expansion, isn't it? Am I wrong?
Nicely done. Nicely done.
That's kind of what it looks like. I don't want to be mean, and I'm sure they worked really, really hard on this.
Now there are only 2 developers on this, which kind of shows, I think. Look,
and I don't want to because developing is hard. It really is, and I give them credit for trying to do that. But in this day and age, you can't survive on that. You can't. Being a two-team developer, you need some sort of way to show off your game and to have better graphics and to ask the community for help and get the community to do graphics for you and grow your team, knowing and telling that team, hey, look, if this doesn't work, you're probably not going to make any money. This is more of like a volunteer basis kind of thing. That's how a lot of indie developers work right now. It's not for money. And it doesn't look that good. The graphics look pretty lame. It looks very scarce. It looks just like another DayZ. It looks like the beginning of DayZ when it first came out. I don't need another DayZ.
No.
It looks shitty.
Thanks for the follow, Delivers. Appreciate it, man. Thumbs up to you, bud. I'm not impressed by it. Like I watched this prior to Showtime, and it was like, meh. I've seen this, and I've seen this, and I've seen this. We've seen this going back as far as Rust, the original Rust. We've seen this with, like you said, DayZ. The style is all the same. Like, are they all using the same engine, for crying out loud? Like, I don't know. But, yeah, maybe the fact that it's just two developers working on that is worth a little, pat on the back. Way to go, guys. Now go get a real job. But I'm like Red, I'm getting tired of this genre. Like, how much open world survival shit do we have to go through? Like, enough is enough, guys. Find a new genre. Do something different. Give us something different, because I'm telling you right now, you go on Steam, you go on just about anywhere, and you can find at least 10 to 15 open world survival games within 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, there is one thing I will say about gamers as a collective whole in terms of this whole genre, especially the zombie survival thing. If the off chance that this kind of thing actually happens in the real world, we're all going to be the ones left alive at the end because we know how to deal with this shit. I've got commas and I've got a ninja sword in my closet. I am going to survive here. Unlike a gun, a sword never needs to be reloaded.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. You know, one that I hope doesn't survive? I mean, seriously, hope doesn't survive. Is the Kanye West game dedicated to his mother. Now,
it's going to.
He did an interview where, and I think I've got this queued up right, where he talks about it for a few minutes. So we'll hear his explanation in his words.
But said, that our grandmother, my mom used to say, now lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord our soul to keep before she would put me to bed. And my grandmother actually named me Omari, which is the first line, hello, Mari. Mm-hmm. So I realized at that point that they were both talking to me. Right. It wasn't just my mom, that my grandmother was speaking to me. So you get these generations. So right now I'm working on a video game for only one. And the idea is it's my mother going through the gates of heaven. Mm-hmm. And you got to bring her to the highest gates of heaven by holding her to the light. And we've been working on it for like 6 months. Mm-hmm. So
is that why you kept the lights low at the Grammys? That was the first thing.
So, folks, there you have it from the words of the great Kanye himself. We are going to have a video game with his name on it. And it's going to star his mother going through the pearly gates. What do you think? What do you think, guys? Come on.
Go ahead, G. I'll let you unvin it first on this one.
I mean, I already have a lot to say in terms of him as a person. I have a lot to say as the game itself and things that I probably would upset a lot of people with based off what the game is about. People are going to buy it. That's what it is. The thing that Kanye has done and done very well is create controversy. And people love controversy. Granted, people like us probably don't, but I won't be surprised if he releases this on the Wii and the Xbox and the PS4 and all of that. If people that support him and people that like want to know what it's about will freaking go out and buy a PS4 and an Xbox and a Wii just to play the game.
Need I say Kim Kardashian, who's made fucking millions of dollars off of a mobile game?
And that's what it is. He's gonna make millions more. And he knows really how to create controversy, and people strive off it. The best way to rid ourselves of that type of controversy is to not give it any sort of attention in terms of purchasing it, in terms of anything like that, where we're looking to get it and talk about the game and promote the game.
I'm just watching the comments going by in chat, and you guys are fucking hilarious. I love it. Can't wait for the DLC. I hope it has mod support. Where can I pre-order it? I hope it has a season pass.
Probably will.
You guys are awesome. I love you. Go ahead, Red.
All right. I'm going to lay this out first. As a musician and an artist, I can respect him.
I can't. As
like
zero
he can put out just as his music alone, I respect.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Yes, I can.
No, I disagree.
It's my opinion, and damn, I'm going to be sticking to it.
Good.
Otherwise, now that's out of the way, because that's the nicest thing that's going to come out of my mouth about this guy. He is honestly the most self-serving, egotistical. Like, I thought LeBron James was bad with his hour-long special saying "I fucking quit" was bad. This takes the fucking cake. I hope that this project gets released and crashes and burns so hard it bankrupts him. Like, that bad.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Red. Chances are he's got no money in it. He's got a hell of a contract where he makes royalties.
I hope he's put money in this. I really do. Because I want to see this tank. Like, this is...
The new Binding of Isaac DLC, Kanye's mom.
Like, I understand in that he wants to pay homage to his mother. I get that. Don't get me wrong, respect the dead and everything. This is such horseshit. I can't. I won't. This is the only time I will acknowledge this game's existence. After this point, it is dead to me. Done. So, no. Nope.
Okay, switching gears here a little bit. When I first got on Twitch, one of the games I liked watching being streamed was World of Tanks. And don't know, I just enjoyed watching some of the streamers. But one of the things I noticed is that any given time of the day, the majority of people playing that game were Russian.
Yeah.
Now, what is it about a game like that it makes it so regionally interesting and popular? Like, I'm not sure why I'm not sure why that would be. Yes, we have North Americans that play it too, but if you look on Twitch at any time of the day for World of Tanks, the vast majority of people playing that game are Russian.
I believe it's a Russian company. The company itself is Russian, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, because some of those people could be developers or have close ties with the company.
No. These were just streamers. Like, because I know I spent quite a time trying to find one that spoke English. But I bring that up because World of Tanks, while not a niche game, a niche game, it is in a way, but it's a very, very powerful and strong niche with very passionate players on that. And apparently Mail.ru wants a piece of that action. So they approached Obsidian, to create a new takeoff on the World of Tanks, and it's called Armored Warfare. Now, unlike World Tank, which is basically ends off at the Korean War, that's when its last, I guess, battle maps are set for. Armored Warfare will be stepping forward from that point.
So Russia versus Ukraine? I mean, what? That doesn't exist. As far as Russia's concerned, it doesn't exist.
So it's going to be a free-to-play game. It's going to be a little more full-featured than World of Tanks, because what is it they said they have? On top of that, Armored Warfare is not just a tank game. We're called Armored Warfare not for modern battle tanks, but because we have artillery, armored fighting vehicles, fast jeep units, light tanks, and tank destroyers. Along with that, they are going to have commanders, commander characters that you can swap around your different units. Now, does this type of game interest either of you two gentlemen? And I open that up to chat as well. Is like this genre, this niche kind of gaming?
You know what? I've actually played World of Tanks. It's fun to kind of, as a quick pickup. You know, you play a couple matches, 30 minutes later you can hop out. I don't see how much different, aside from the era that they're working on, like saying that we're called Armored Warfare because we have artillery, armored, like this, the different types of tanks and vehicles they have. Like, the only thing they're really adding on top of what World of Tanks has is like the fast jeep units. They've got tank destroyers, light, medium, heavy tanks, artillery. They've got the major classes of tanks, basically. But I don't know. It's one of those things. I'll give it a shot because it's free to play and see how it is, and really make my decision from there.
What do you think, G?
You know, if they can make it very similar to what World of Tanks is, I actually really enjoyed World of Tanks. I played it for a good couple months, and I played it with my buddies. If they can make it similar to that, it would be definitely a game that I'd be interested in getting. I think the reason I really enjoyed World of Tanks was the realistic approach that they had to it, where it wasn't like you can shoot a tank shell every 5 seconds. Like, each tank has different seconds and reload times, and your people have to have certain skills to be able to do it faster, and it doesn't matter that much, and just those types of things. Being the Jeeps kind of intrigue me, because I would like to see how that's going to really work, because if there's no infantry, I don't see how Jeeps are going to stand against tanks. I'm not really sure. But it does seem something like, I think that would be interesting, that I would enjoy to watch. I think that if they can do it off, build it well and make it realistic like World of Tanks, it can definitely do well.
Well, I know that with World of Tanks, I know that, what was it, last year or whatever, they were making a real push into making it a championship-style match game. Like an esports, but for tanks. And the response has been pretty, like, I watched a couple of live streams of their competition, and I gotta say, I enjoyed the fuck out of it. I really did. Like, you've got some damn good players playing this game. So I think having, and really, I think, what is it, War Thunder recently brought in their tanks, their land-based units as part of the game very recently. So personally, I think any competition in this genre will make it an even better genre that might actually gain a wider traction of viewers and also players. But I want to get back to this idea of regional favoritism in game picks. Like I said, World of Tanks is predominantly Russian and Eastern European players. Do you know of other games that are like that where, obviously, yes, you're going to have the Japanese and the Koreans who are big into their JRPGs, and they don't make the translation. That's a little different than I think than World of Tanks. Do you know of any other type of games where this same type of, I call it regional favoritism, comes into play, where a game is really popular among a certain section, a certain country grouping?
I've been racking my brain on that. I can't think of anything specific that Korea is really good with like real-time strategy games like StarCraft and like League of Legends, stuff like that.
Yeah, but both those games get played massively around the world.
Yes. Well, yeah, they're just, it's one of those, they're known to be better at them as a whole, but it's hard to say because like there's a lot of games that really transition well between cultures. I don't know, and why Russians take to this more often than others. Any guess for me?
Like, I don't think it's the fact that there's a Russian company behind World of Tanks, because they do have a presence outside of Russia. It's a popular game. People love playing it. But when it comes to streaming it, it just strikes me as rather interesting that the large percentage of streamers of this game are Russians, and they do very well, numbers wise. It just, and I was just curious if you guys knew of any other type of game like that. But one other type of game that is extremely popular, and we're seeing a lot of early access related type games, is the Rogue and the Dungeon Crawlers. There's a new one out called Catacomb Kids, and we have a trailer for it here, folks, for you to take a look at. Let us know what you think. I'll say right up the bat, I'm going to leave this to the other two gentlemen because I don't like this type of game, but here we go. Here's the trailer for you.
Someone there. You're dead.
So that's That is Catacomb Kids. And as Blazing Angel had an interesting little analogy. It looks like a mix of Mario and maybe Terraria.
Yeah, I could see that. It does look interesting, to be quite honest. Like that kind of combination, like that platformer, the roguelike style, plus a lot of like that the combination crafting magic and fighting system looks really fun.
Now, they do say that there's not a lot to the early access version at the moment. One environment, local co-op, a couple of mini-bosses, and 2 character classes. But there's already a scope for a great deal of experimentation. Create a poison pool of water, set fire to yourself and others, cook food, create steam, eat bodies, and use blob parts for climbing up sheer walls. They say Catacombs Kids says they will be in early access until it is complete, and the developers say that there will be a regular, continuous stream of updates with a new build of at least every month or so. The full version will have 4 primary environments, 2 major bosses, and at least 8 mini-bosses, dozen more skills and abilities, and the metric F-ton of secrets. The finished game will also include various game modes, including the Gauntlet, Co-op mode, and Infinity mode. Like I said, this isn't my type of game. I don't like rogues. I don't like dungeon crawlers, which is kind of strange because I like playing Diablo. But, gee, what do you think? Is this... Because I know you like playing these type of games.
It's on my watch list now. After seeing that, it's on my watch list. I definitely want to follow it. I am very interested to see what they have, because it reminds me a lot like a Rogue Legacy meets a... Oh, what's that game that was pretty... Spelunky?
Spelunky,
yes,
yeah. They made
Spelunky.
reference to that in the article, yeah.
So, like, it seems like it's almost like a Rogue Legacy meets Spelunky, maybe meets something else. And I'm very interested in that. I really, really enjoyed Rogue Legacy. I haven't played Spelunky, but I want to. And it just seems like a very, very good game for what they are trying to do. But we'll see. I mean, I want to... I'm not going to buy it because I am very wary of early access. But if they stick to their guns and they actually give updates every month and they come out with builds every month, I might get it.
What about you, Red? Is this something that would be on your purchase radar, or just something to
It's definitely on my radar. It's I know the one Giotto, like I know him very well, so I know for sure he'd be on it, and like it kind of feels the same way that like G said, Rogue Legacy. It's kind of got that Terraria feel with a lot of the weaponry, the magic system. So it falls into the wheelhouse where I've already existed. So I'm going to keep an eye on it first and then see if it's worth the money.
One of the areas where I exist is in Civilization, the whole franchise from Froxus. I love Civ. I will give them shit every single time they launch a new version, as they did with BE, and it fucks up. Like right now, I can't play it past the first 5 minutes for some reason, so I'm waiting for the next update to come. But apparently, if everybody remembers, because we've talked about this before, the gentleman, Sid Meier, the gentleman behind Froxus and the original Civ, has been working with a very small group to create a new game called Starships. And we've seen a trailer of it in the past. It looks interesting. It's a departure from the typical Civ-style game, turn-based, hexagon type thing. But an update coming very soon to Civ Beyond Earth is going to introduce connectivity between Civ BE and Starships. once the patch is rolled out, you'll be able to log into a My2K account from within Beyond Earth, granting you an exclusive Glacier Planet map. The new update will usher in new game changes. With Wonders, the main target for revision, one of the most consistent pieces of feedback the team received was that certain Wonders were built only rarely. Other players reported that some felt the marginal upgrades over other resource buildings. The Beyond Earth team took general cost pass on all the Wonders in the game, changed the effects of most of them. Changes to the Wonders will have a knock-on effect for other aspects of the game. Now, okay, that's we all know that Civ and Fraxis do regular updates because their first run through usually is kind of problematic, and we saw that with Beyond Earth. But this connectivity that they're going to do between two separate games, I find very interesting.
I do too, but this is one of these things I'm wary about. Because I know that, I think it's been at least a few years running now that EVE Online was talking about having a first-person shooter
Dust
based
514 or whatever it is.
Yeah, something like that. And it was supposed to be based on the planets, and they were supposed to interact with each other in some way where the battles on the planets affected the game in EVE Online. So I don't even know how far along they are in that project, or if it's even going to happen.
No, it's done. 514 is not going to exist as far as a game. As far as I know, that's what I last read. That 514 is basically they've shuttered that project down as far as I know. So yeah.
So if that's the case, like if this is going to be one of those like kind of wait and see things. The idea sounds amazing, but again, it's the implementation that I'm worried about.
What do you think, G?
I have always thought that this type of interaction between multiple games would be very, very interesting. I was actually excited to see what 514 and EVE would do, and then obviously it's not happening anymore. Now, in terms of if they can pull this off, I would get it. Easy. I always loved the Civ games. I think that something like this would be very, very interesting to get into, and I would like to see more of it. Like one of the innovations I thought would be fantastic for any kind of MMO or any kind of game like that would be something where there's two different games and they somehow interact with one another and affect each other. Okay, I think that would be marvelous.
I stand corrected by chat. Thank you very much. But Dust 514 is a free-to-play game on the PS3.
Okay, so it did happen.
Yes. So I stand corrected. Thank you very much, chat. Keeping me honest. The problem I have with Civ, and this goes right back to the very first one, and I worry that's going to happen with Starship, is that they launched the game, and it's good, and you play it hard for a week or 2 weeks, then you go, wait, there's something missing here. There's something not quite fitting in properly. And then they have a patch, or they have a DLC, and it fixes part of the problem, you know? And you go, okay, you suckered me in again, Sid Meier, you know? I'm in there. But there's still parts of it that are not perfect. So finally the second deal, and you can go back 3 or 4 generations of Civ, and it's been exactly the same process. By the time they come out with the second DLC, you've got the perfect game. Right?
Yeah, which...
And thank you, Merciless Mike, for following. Appreciate it, dude. BE is no different. There is something lacking in that game. On the surface, it's a beautifully done game. The graphics are fantastic. The gameplay's not bad, but there's something lacking in it, and I don't know what it is. So yeah, in a year we'll probably get a DLC, and it will fix part of those problems. But in the meantime, we got Starship coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Starship is a brand new IP. It's a brand new game. So but given the history of Firaxis, given the history of Civ, are we going to have the same problem? But now you've got a tie-in between the two games.
Yeah, it's a question of not only tying it in, but how is it going to tie in? Like, are they going to have like an installation package once they get this figured out that meshes the two programs together, or is it
from what I'm reading, it's going to be special maps. Like they said, once the patch is rolled out, the newest patch for Civ BE, you'll be able to log into a My2K account from Beyond Earth, which will give you exclusive access to a glacial planet map. And I'm assuming that planet map will be part of the Starship world as well. And that's where it will intermingle. So basically what you would have is a union planet, right, between two worlds.
Well, this is going to be one of those that we have to see how the implementation works. Again, it's right now all we have is theory, speculation, and until we see something practical, like it could be just that you start the game on the planet surface and then transition to the space portion, or they're both happening concurrently. Like that. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around, is where the meshing happens and where the connectivity is. So I think that's... it's one of these things that we'll have to see to believe, really.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna end off with a little bit of fun. Like, in the past, we've on our shows, we've had, the 5 reasons why, games don't translate to good movies, or so on and so forth. Well, there's a new one out, 5 good reasons we still don't like movie games. Now, we'll step through this and we'll see what they have to say. I'm gonna just turn the music down a little bit so it's not interrupting, and get my mouse back up here, and here we go.
Venom Project.
The Venom Project.
Great. Why is it never the Puppy Project or the Chocolate Project?
Who doesn't love watching a good movie while eating microwave popcorn? But even though there's so much love for awesome movies, there's still a negative vibe surrounding the so-called movie games. Here are 5 reasons why.
First, we're gonna pay a little house call on an old friend of mine. He's mean, a real bad apple, and a skilled sniper.
Bad reputation.
Movie games have a bad reputation. There was a time not so long ago that every big Hollywood movie got a game with the same title. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Iron Man, and Avatar were all great movies, but we cannot say the same about their games. They are all seeming piles of garbage.
Okay, those out of those, okay, we got the Iron Man movie, we got Harry Potter, we got Lord of the Rings. Any of those games, versions of the movie that you played and loved dearly and
no. The only, actually, there was one in the list I wasn't even aware of existed, was one for the Expendables.
Yeah.
Which made me die a little bit inside, actually.
Chainsaw Jedi says the HP games weren't bad. Weren't bad and good are 2 different things, dude. Okay, number 2.
Usually it takes about 3 or 4 years to develop a good game. But with movie games, the development time is cut short.
Oh God, that looks
Expensive
terrible.
license agreements, limited resources, and a release date set in stone lead to a rushed development cycle. It's almost impossible to make a good game under those circumstances. That's one of the reasons many movie games are now smartphone apps instead.
When I first got the call...
Okay, now that is true. We are seeing a lot more movie tie-in to games occurring in the mobile world. And that's maybe where they belong. Because, look, you cannot design a game in a 6-month to 8-month time frame and have a good playable game that gamers will love. Am I wrong in that? Can you think of any ones that were what we're doing, G, is we're going through the list of 5 good reasons why we don't like movie games. And the one we just had was the short development time, given the fact that, you have a hard date when they want the game ready. You usually have about 6 months to do it, limited money, limited resources. And that's why they generally suck llama balls.
I just thought of something. For the Super Nintendo or the Genesis era, they did have the series of Star Wars platformer games that weren't half bad. I actually remember playing those fondly, but then again, you're not looking at something that had half a year to develop. These were games that existed and were created 10 years or more after the original movies came out.
Yeah.
It's one of those few examples where that's something decent.
Okay, number 3 of the reasons why we don't like movie games is limited creative freedom.
When I first got the call telling me I'll be working on Transformers the game, I was absolutely gobsmacked, for lack of a better term.
When developers make their own game, they can do whatever they want. But when they make a game based on a movie, they are limited to the things the movie company allows them to do. Things like story, level design, and character development have to be approved by many different people. In many cases, game developers can only work with the limited tools they're given by the movie studio.
When you jump into the game, you are looking through the eyes of James Bond. You are Bond.
Okay, so what they're basically saying is that, developers, game developers who under normal circumstances have a lot of creative license to create their characters in the game and the game storyline. But whereas with movies, it's like game design by committee. And can you think of any good movie game that came out that managed to pull off that design by committee?
I don't think so. And I know they're saying in chat, and I was just thinking this, the GoldenEye for N64 was actually a decent game too. Especially for multiplayer. But design by committee doesn't always work though. On topic there, because it's one of those things when you have something that's that restricted, especially if you have to adhere to a level design or artwork or things that where you can't be as creative, you kind of don't get a really good product out of it.
What do you think, G? Oh, you're muted. You're muted, bud.
Work calls, love it.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think it's if you can't get that freedom to do what you want with it, then it really restricts you, and being restrictive doesn't, for the most part, allow for a fun type of game, because I don't think a lot of people when watching a movie, they want to play the character but not follow the movie again. They want to play the game with that hero, not the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So being forced to play the movie, I think, is one of the huge problems in that type of scenario, because you don't get to play the actual hero the way you want. So that's why I think one of the better games that came out that didn't follow a movie was Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham the other one, Arkham City?
Arkham City. Arkham City.
Yeah. I thought, I don't remember which one was better than the other. And it wasn't necessarily my type of game. I thought it was a good game, but that's kind of what I'm thinking is that you got to play Batman and you got to be more of an open world and do your thing there. So that was a good game. Movies, not really. I don't. Yeah.
Okay, number 4 on the 5 reasons why we don't like movie games is marketing.
The video game that lets you help E.T. get home just in time for Christmas.
In the end, a game based on a Hollywood blockbuster is only being made as a marketing tool, which basically means the game will hardly get any support after its release. There's a very small chance for DLC, and even patching a game to fix bugs can be difficult due to financial constraints. It's riding on the back of a movie, and obviously that's not in our benefit.
Mr. Okay, the fact is that these games based on movies are a marketing tool. I get that, but aren't the movie studios being short-sighted in actually using this as a way to build a new brand and create a life around their movies? Like, that would make sense to me. That would be good marketing. But instead what we get is like one-offs that the moment they're made, that's it, you're done.
I think so. Like, there's a lot of opportunity in these types of games to either expand the story, because there's been a lot of movies out there, especially if a movie that goes from book to movie, where they leave a lot out. And there's no real exploration past what you see in the movie. So there is that potential. There's also potential of the what if scenarios. What if something else, you could do something different than what the movie plot followed. And that's the thing. Like you said, he made a good point. Like there's that missing potential of making a chain of games that are independent from a movie series or a movie in general.
Okay, at number 5, and I think this relates back to something that you said, G, the same story.
Mr. White, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Blue, Mr. Orange, and Mr. Pink.
Why am I Mr. Pink?
Because you're a faggot, all right?
When a game is based on a movie, it usually retells the plot from the movie. So watching or playing one will spoil the other experience. And if the game does have an alternative storyline within the same universe, you can bet that it's not even half as good as the movie plot. In general, movie games are just something gamers should be very wary of.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
Oh, Charlie's Angels.
I didn't even realize this happened.
Is there no hope left for movie games? Yes, there is. As long as developers make games based on entire movie franchises. Shadow of Mordor or Alien Isolation are recent examples of movie games done right. So there is hope for the movie game, as long as its release is not supposed to coincide with the theatrical release of a blockbuster.
God damn you, Joe.
Okay, thanks for the 2 follows while we were watching that. I didn't quite catch the names. Some guy with a phone. Cool. You guys were cracking up over that last one. What was it about that last one that got you guys going? The Charlie's Angels one?
Like I said, I didn't even realize that was a thing. That they made a game on that. But like, this might be like their last point is like the Alien game and oh my god, I already lost my train of thought on the other one.
Alien and Shadows
of Mordor.
Shadows of
Thank
Mordor.
You. Yeah, like that. They're right. Those are good examples of games that have taken a series and expanded on it. It doesn't have to be the same story, and this is where like games like Knights of the Old Republic, both of them were good because they took the Star Wars universe and went way before the movies, where there wasn't really much in the way of canon or story, and expanded on the universe. Games like that do very well because, like they say, you're not repeating the exact same storyline or plot as the movie, and it's something different.
What do you think? Like, gee, is it possible to create a good... And like, I know they said Shadows of Mordor and Alien Isolation, and they said those were good examples. I'm beg to differ.
Me too. I don't like Locker Room Simulator, and Shadows of Mordor I think was a good 1 hour game, just like Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs got a lot of hype, and it was a great 1 hour game, and then it got old very quick. I think it's kind of similar. Now, I think you can make good games that are outside the movie, that are still part of the movie realm. I think that's what is exciting about those types of things. I think one of the best examples that isn't a game, but that could very well prove to be a very good marketing tool for them is the show S.H.I.E.L.D. with the movies along that coincide with S.H.I.E.L.D. When I started watching S.H.I.E.L.D., the first 2 or 3 episodes, I was like, I'm not really sure if I'm into this. I got to the 4th and 5th episode, I was hooked.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then I started watching the movies that coincided with the episodes, and it is one of the best shows I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, Marvel did that right. Now, if
they were to do the same thing,
yes,
with the games, and they did something, and they didn't go crazy and say, $60 per episode, or something to try to make as much money as possible, but instead made it like a free to play to make it more of a marketing filler.
Yeah,
then it would be good.
And they could also use it to tie in all the storylines as well as an added bonus. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see him go down that road. I would like to see him go down that road because I think it could make things very interesting in both the gaming and the television. Like, you have a true multimedia platform storyline. And that can lead to all kinds of interesting stuff. But we will leave that for another night, folks. It's getting late. G's got phone calls coming out his ass, and he's got to be able to concentrate and make his big bucks, So we'll call this show to a close. If you like what you've seen today on tonight's show, please consider hitting that old follow button. If you weren't around earlier today when we debuted our brand new show, The Interviews, I had a chance to sit down, and it will be a regular Sunday episode at 2 p.m. It's called The Interviews. I had a chance to sit down with Twitch streamer Dizzy Disaster and his wonderful wife Mew, and we had a good hour-long conversation. I'll throw the link in chat. You can check it out. And, if you like it, stay tuned because we got more interviews coming. Booking people now as we speak. But for now, thank you, G, for jumping in tonight. You are a hero to my soul. Yes, you are. The good old G-Spot.
A gentleman and a scholar.
Yes, just don't brag about it too much. We'll have to come and hunt you down and slap you upside the head. But on the far, far side, thank you, Red Mage, for jumping in as well and being here for another good show. We will see you guys tomorrow again at 12 a.m. for another Late Night with Cranky and Friends. But in the meantime, remember, folks, two important words. Game on.